back, everybody. We are at it again. We got the Urban Misfit podcast for you. Awesome guest. Super stoked that you were able to make it out, man. Please welcome BMX Craig.
Right on. Thank you, man. Glad to be here. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm like stoked. I'm really close. I'm really close. I'm really glad that you live close by because I followed your page for a while and I was like told by Damon, hey, I think I want to nominate somebody for the show. And I was like, all right, who? He was like, 80 BMX Craig. I was like, oh yeah, dude, that'd be dope. So I was like, where's he from? He's like, I don't know, man, but you should get him. So when I reached out and you told me where you live, I was like, no way.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome. It's to have you here in Sacramento, you know, it's close to the house. And it's funny you mentioned Damon because I had only met him maybe once or twice on ride-outs and stuff, and then eventually started going to his shop, hanging out just a few times, and did one ride-out there. So it's kind of neat that, you know, he actually put my name out there. And,
hell yeah.
You know, I super appreciate that. So shout out to Damon for sure.
Always. Yeah, he's fucking awesome, man. I'm really grateful for Damon just for always having the doors open down there as far as the rides go, because sometimes you show up, there's only a few people, and well, recently they've been keeping them numbers up. It's been like 60 people every weekend.
Yeah, I mean, just backing it up a little bit, you know, going to on our first ride out, I think was Santa Cruz, and then seeing Damon, you know, he kind of was like one of the major presences in the bike life movement. So he's really out there, you know, he's helping kids. He's got an insane bike collection. He's just got a lot of, you know, things going on with this whole, you know, bike thing and the movement. And it was really cool because he's really, you know, like I was taking my stepson on these ride outs and he's like, that's Damon. Yeah, I see that. Like, it's hard to miss the guy with dreads and he's, you know, tall dude and he's like commands the presence, but you know, the bus and everything. And so we literally just kind of walked up to him, you know, and I was kind of pushing my stepson up to him, like, go say hi, you know?
Yeah.
And he was really cool. I mean, a real welcoming guy. So that's awesome. And, you know, to have them, invite me out to Stockton to ride, you know, it's a really good vibe out there.
Yeah, that's cool to have. I mean, yeah, because you're about the same distance as us from Stockton. And it's just a cool vibe down there. Like you said, Damon seems like a super intimidating looking guy until you talk to him. You know what I mean? He's always like super welcoming to new people and new riders.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yep. What do you think about riding in Sac? We went on a ride in Sac earlier today. Oh, yeah. We got, how could I forget? We got Matt Rickard in the background assisting on the podcast.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, he said, what's up, guys? Yeah, RL. Matt Rickard on Instagram. But the three of us went out. Well, and Tia went with us, too. We met up with Anthony and Max. And, Schaefer? Staffer. I'm sorry, bro. Staffer. I'm really bad with names, so it was good I was close.
Yeah, I mean, SAC was really cool. Thank you for inviting me out. I mean, it was an awesome time. You really just, you know, I have family that lives out in the Sacramento area, but don't really get to see what it's like to be immersed in the neighborhoods. Yeah. I mean, we went from where you live, obviously, through the neighborhoods, ended up at Sac State. So I'd never been on the campus. It was actually cool because a lot of I was just looking at the street curbs and stuff, you know, I'm an old school rider. So I'm looking at what can I get air off of? What can I use as my little launch ramp or, you know, just kind of have fun with. The campus was cool. I think one of the highlights was riding up towards the Capitol building. Obviously went to the Capitol and, you know, got to see that. Actually got some really good footage of you and Matt. And then, Old Town. So, I mean, we were just taking it from, it's almost like we were going from like time warps into, you know, different time zones. It's like, we're in Old Town Sacramento, wood plank sidewalks and, you know, cobblestone. And yeah, it was just a good time.
Yeah. Really nobody's ever ready for that. That's why when we stopped, to get air for, Staffer's bike, I was like, so you've never ridden in Sacramento before? You're like, no. I was like, oh, perfect. This is going to be tight then, because I already kind of knew like little spots that we were definitely going to hit, like the hot spots. Old Sac is super cool because it's just like you're in city, and boom, you're like in the Old West.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And Sacramento's really flat.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is nice.
For me right now with, you know, trying to get back on the bike and get through this injury, I'm like, I hope it's flat out there, bro. And it was flat. I mean, it was just real nice. It was a good ride.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a chill ride today too, not too fast. We were actually dead from yesterday, so that was to your benefit. You didn't have to worry about
that helped me
up
out
with
a little
us.
bit. Yeah, you guys were probably riding at a little lower speed for me, and that was great or whatever. But if you guys got gassed last night, that worked out well for me. So
yeah, we had a fun time last night. It was definitely an adventure with everybody. So
nice.
But so the 80 BMX Craig, how did that? How long have you been like posting on that page?
I think I've been posting on that page since June of last year. So that whole thing came about. I just kind of got back into bikes as far as like really wanting to start building again. I wanted to have a little, you know, hobby that I could, you know, do with my son and all these things. So I'm looking at all this social media. These guys are putting up their builds. They're showcasing their stuff. You know, maybe I'll give this a try. And so that's how that all kicked off. I think my first post was a Diamondback bike that I bought. I wanted to fix up, and it didn't really turn out very well. But, you know, it was like that's how I wanted to get it going. So
gotcha.
Had no clue that I would be stepping into showing like memories or, you know, old school stuff from when I was a kid and growing up, and it just evolved into that. So it was something really cool, something I've had a passion for pretty much since I was a pretty young kid, you know, around 7 years old, and has just stuck with me. So it was really natural to start looking at stuff and looking for content online, because I'm like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember going to, you know, BMX shows at the local bike shop and, you know, doing sticker grabs and merch grabs and watching these guys and, you know, these riders, and, you know, you end up going to one of those, and then that's it. You're hooked. I mean, you're already hooked because you want to be like them, you know, but you see them in person and it's like,
once you get a
wow.
taste. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, even going to the grocery store with my mom, because, you know, there's no internet. So really wasn't broadcast on TV yet. There's no X Games back in the late 70s, early 80s. So it was what you could get from the magazine rack at the store, right? So while mom's shopping, I'm over there, you know, plowing through BMX Plus and BMX Action magazines, because I had to look at a certain page in the magazine to see a sequence of tricks and go, okay, how does this start? Nice. What's in the middle, and how do I ride out of this? You know, and it was like just following that and trying to memorize those tricks within like 15 or 20 minutes while my mom's,
while she was shopping.
Yeah, exactly. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, your page has definitely evolved. It's cool when you pull it up. It looks like a magazine. Like just when you like search up. Oh yeah. So by the way, if you don't follow him, go follow him. It's 80's _BMX Craig on Instagram. It's but yeah, like when you type it in and you click your page, when it opens up, it looks as if you were looking at a magazine that just kind of like flows down. It's got just like the appealingness of just looking at it open is pretty cool. And then, like I told you, I've been following the page for a while, so it's one of those pages that comes up on my post every day, and it's like the one that gets attention because I'm like, oh,
that's awesome.
That's rad. You know what I mean? I'm like looking to see if anything's familiar to me, which is obviously before my time period. But I remember the BMX Plus magazine days and like the before the internet days, really.
Right.
You know, and that's like when I was riding bikes.
So that's like one of the things I wanted to do. And I remember starting, and someone's like, I think it was my lady. She's my fiance, Lisa. She's like, it's all about the aesthetics. You have to have a look to it. It's got to appeal right when you open it up, right? And I don't think of this stuff. I just want to show the bikes, and I want to show the, you know, the content to where it appeals to me. I'm not worrying about mass market because I started with 0 followers, right?
Sure.
So anyway, so I started doing that. I started looking at photos. What's the content like? What can I say about this? But it had to have some meaning to me. You know, it really wasn't a follower thing. I was like, if I like it, maybe someone else will, but I'm not
Right.
too worried if they don't, because I'm kind of making this page for me. Obviously, it started getting some momentum,
Some
and
traction,
more
yeah.
and more people are looking at it. And now I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this filter. Hopefully it looks right. I'm centering up the photo. But yeah,
Put some
it's
effort.
really just to,
Oh yeah.
kind of suit my own
Sure.
likes. And obviously, there's other people out there that see it like you do. Like, wow,
Right.
this is cool.
Because obviously, like, you're not getting paid or anything for your page, right? Like,
No,
definitely.
but that doesn't. Oh, I mean, if anybody wants to, please DM me if you want to,
right.
tap into the payment
Yeah.
monetization of my page. Please
Right. For
DM.
sure.
Yeah, but no, I don't get paid for any of that.
Yeah. So I mean, I like to see stuff like that because I've built some Instagram pages in the past. It was like built to make money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that was my idea for the page and stuff. And granted, like they've blown up, but they didn't really pan out. You know what I mean? So it's like it's really hard to get paid for Instagram pages or anything around like the social media stuff right now.
Yeah, I mean, if that comes around or if I have that opportunity, of course, that would be awesome. That'd be so rad. I'd jump on it right away. If it's the right thing. I did have a couple of DMs where they're like, hey, if you talk about this bike lock or make a viral video, we can monetize this. We can give you this percentage. And I looked at the lock or whatever it was, right? And I'm like, no,
Can't get behind this.
I don't want to get behind something
Right.
that I don't want to get behind.
Yeah, I feel it.
It puts my name on it. I wouldn't use this. So no, I'm not gonna fake it like that. So
Yeah, I'm like the same way. You know what I mean? I have to. I'm like good at sales because like with my businesses and stuff, it's like all based around sales, and I don't really like bringing stuff into my stores that I wouldn't buy myself and stand behind.
Right.
And that's why I can sell everything in there really well is because it's shit I would use for the most part. But
yeah, exactly.
times have changed in some of my stores. I've had to go with the times because people have a cheaper market than I'm willing to pay for. You know what I mean? And the stuff that's cheaper, it's weird, but like a little off subject. But basically, what I was getting at though is that that you built that page just on like a passion for the bikes. You know what I mean? It had like nothing to do with anything other than it brought joy to you for the most part.
Well, yeah, and the more time that went by, the more content I started putting on my page. Like I said, it was really like what sparks this memory for me. What brings back like, oh, I remember this. And as I was having like, having fun with putting all that onto the page and stuff, I'm thinking like, obviously there's people who are the same age or around the same time, or even if there's guys or kids out there, they're like, I wonder what the old timers did. I wonder how this, this bike life thing, what are the roots of that? Where did that come from? And so it was really like, just trying to put something out there that looks appealing. It brings back some memories. If they want to get on the memory bus or whatever, I can take them back. Hop on. I'm your driver. Let's go take a look back in time. Or, check this out. If you didn't know this about the history of SE bikes, if you ride an OM Flyer, but you don't know who the old man is, right? Or you didn't know who Stu Thompson or, these guys are, let's take a look at that. Maybe I can be the catalyst to get your juices flowing as far as
Right.
wanting to know
Triggering,
about it. Right.
yeah,
And I
interest.
think there's something to say about that, because as we pass on the sport to the youth or to even new folks coming into it, right? It's good to give them a little sprinkle of history here and
Right.
there, and of course it's something that, I enjoy doing as well. So that part I like, and I get a lot of feedback. My favorite part is not always the content. I mean, that's not what I'm trying to focus on. I'd rather be riding my bike
Right.
than worrying about what photo I'm going to put up.
Yeah,
but the part
exactly.
I do like about it is receiving DMs, direct messages like, hey, what part do I put on this 82 Mongoose team? What was the height of the seat post for this? Just, like random questions. And the first thing after we talk for a second, I go, where are you from? Let's say what's up too, not just bike talk. Where are you from? So hearing that, oh, I'm from Australia, I'm from South Africa, I'm from New England, or not New England, but the UK,
right,
or even in the continental United States, man. I got a kid that I started talking to from Georgia, and he's always hitting me up on, does this content look good? How's this wheelie look? And it's like, oh, that's awesome, because you meeting people is the best part.
Yeah,
so that's like why I got into the ride out thing too, is because I see the the videos. You guys are riding with like 200 to 300 to 400 up to 1,000 people.
Yeah, they get up there.
It's crazy. I mean, I wanted to be a part of that. I'm like, there is going to be some fun with this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I remember what's that? Oh yeah, and that's like Craig asked us earlier. How did I get so lucky to like fall into this with you guys and stuff? And I think I just thought about it because me and Rickard were talking. But I really think it's because like the older generation and folks in this wheelie crew or whatever can see like your passion comes from where our passion is too. You know what I mean? So like you just haven't happened to have been in the wheelie scene that long yet. And I don't know, because I can just see from your posts and stuff that it's hard to explain, I guess. That like it's pure BMX. You're not trying to get paid. You know what I mean? You're not out for the clout. You're like, you just love BMX, just the way it makes us feel when we ride and how it makes you feel when you ride. You know what I mean? We can see that just from your page, I think.
I mean, yeah, and that's exactly it. So, I mean, I haven't been around since BMX has been around. Okay. I mean, I probably have been around, but when I got into this, it was around 79, 80 ish. I wasn't on a BMX bike, but I started out with like a Schwinn Scrambler with a banana seat and a sissy bar and some ape hanger handlebars, right? But I was trying to be a BMXer. I was trying to be the guy at the motocross track, not so much on a bike, but trying to imitate them, guys on dirt bikes and stuff. And so that's how the whole thing started. And from there, it's gone through an evolution of like dirt track racing, true, or what they, pure BMX, right, bicycle, motocross, right? Yep. And that was a big thing for me. Like I never raced a sanctioned race in my life, but if you were within 5 miles of my neighborhood and you wanted to get on the track and go heads up with me, well, let's go, and these were backyard field tracks, us spending weekends with shovels and rakes and, well, we got a whoop section. I had like 2 whoops. We got
all weekend.
Right. All weekend. Right. But so, going through the freestyle thing, the freestyle, I don't say movement, but right, it kind of was.
I was going to say it
because it changed the game. It was like somewhere around late 80s, 87, 86, I think is like when I started noticing it. And I noticed that guys weren't really coming in with the chrome 20 inchers anymore. They were now rolling up with these pastel neon, the tough wheels and all the chrome, the fork standers and the pegs and rotors. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
A whole new wave.
And that just, I was like, through racing, whatever. I want to get on these freestyle bikes, Yeah. So, but then, and so what I'm getting at is like, here's this, to me, a new wave of riding. It's a BMX bike. Yeah, it's big, and some purists will say, well, that's not BMX, but it is.
Yeah.
It is, because...
How else could you explain it?
Right. Really? Right? So it's a BMX bike that's 29 inches tall. Geometry's virtually the same. It's, you're out there riding, you're doing something. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're out there riding, you're on a bike, and you're on a BMX bike if that's how it's built.
Dude, go watch some videos of Jacob Santos and Rich Lujan.
Man.
Tell me those aren't BMX bikes.
So,
you know what I mean? Like, really?
No, I mean, those are BMXers. BMXers like with the old school flavor. Like BMX guys making these. Yeah, right. And it's insane. We were in Santa Cruz, and I didn't know who he was, obviously. So I'm like new to the game. I actually rolled in on a 24-inch quad angle. I had no idea what was fucking going on. So we do a little ride, we kick it off, and we ride out, and we roll out, and we end up at this skate park. But here's Jake Santos, right? And he's 360 and out of the fly out section of this little bowl, dude. And it was like, that's a BMXer, right? And not to take away anything from anybody else at that, that day, but it was just like, I'm like, that guy's riding a 20-incher, like, or a 29-incher, like it's 20. This is insane. So right before that, we were at Harvey West Park, right? The pump track. Rich Lujan's out there throwing tabletops on a 29-incher. I mean, he's got that bike folded under him,
bro. Yeah.
And it's like, who is that? So I'm starting to take notes. I'm like, okay, Jake, it was Richie Rich. I'm finding these guys online. Like, I'm going to follow them. I want to see what they do. Or maybe I'll just watch some videos on their page or see what's up. But, those are the guys who really, I'm like, if these BMX guys are in this, wouldn't it be cool if I can get in this and start, throwing some of that kind of stuff too? But
hell yeah.
I mean, not that I would be on their level, but it would just be fun to
mix it in. Yeah.
Mix it in. Yeah, for sure.
So you've like, have bikes like been a part of your life, like continuously your whole life?
So yeah, like I said, I think it started around 6 or 7. My first memory on a bike, I sat on my bike and I looked up at the sky after riding with my friends all day, and something like, I am having such a good time. I am living my best life. It was like,
yeah.
So yeah, they've been a part of it. It was a way to have freedom. It was a way to get from point A to point B and get in a lot of trouble in between.
Yeah.
Right. It was a way that you grouped up with your friends, if you needed to get across town and meet up with someone because they were, you had to pick them up or whatever, right, and then go back to someone else's house. It was great. There were moments where I wasn't on a bike because skating came into play and I wanted to skateboard. So it was bike and skate, right. Sometimes throwing the skateboard on the handlebars with some bungee cords to ride my skateboard to a skate park.
Yeah.
Right. Leave the bike on the curb and then skate. But in some way, shape or form throughout my life, it's bikes have been a part of that. And I think more so now that kind of getting to the point where I don't want to get hurt on a skateboard anymore.
Yeah.
Injuries are taking a little bit more of a toll on me. And not that you can't get hurt on a bike.
Dude, but the likelihood on a skateboard is way higher.
Right.
Of getting hurt just because, it just is. The bicycles, especially if you're just riding and not like really wheeling and getting too crazy, like the odds of you going down are pretty low. They're pretty low.
Right. It got to a point where my mom was at work, single mom raising me and my sister, and she would get a call from the ER. Hey, Craig's in here again. Like, they knew me on first name basis. I'm just Craig. And she's like, okay, do I need to come down there? Is he going to be all right? Oh yeah, we'll just throw some stitches in him and we'll just let him go. Okay. And so,
send him home.
Right. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I just recently got injured this year and I'm trying to recover from that, thinking like, how long is this shit going to take?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that for sure.
Definitely.
Like we were talking about my calf injury. That one was like the first time I'd experienced that. Yeah, bro, you're getting older. Because the recovery time on that was just like, God, I hope this isn't like this forever. You know what I mean? It just felt like it took forever to heal, and eventually it did, thankfully. But yeah, it's I don't recover quite like I used to.
I remember being a kid. We were bombing this hill on our bikes, right? And we're coming down, and believe it or not, if you've never had speed wobbles on bikes, it does happen.
Exist, yeah.
It fucking exists, right? Dude, I'm like, all right, I'm either going to ride this bitch all the way to down the hill, or I'm going to, so I like bailed off it and like skinned my knee down to like the kneecap, right? And I have a scar there now, but it's like, I dusted myself off, kind of put some dirt on my knee, and I was like back on the bike, like, all right, I'll just, keep going. Yeah. Now it's like.
That could never happen today.
No.
My body. No. Yeah, I've done some stupid stuff and injured myself. Like, I don't know if you ever pull one of those old guy moves where you like cough turned or something and you like throw your back out. But I've done that shit like on a bike, like doing some weird little motion on my bike and just boop, my back's just toast for like a week. Oh, it's so bad. It only happened to me on the red line, actually. Thankfully, I haven't had it happen to me on the goon. Well, no, it just hasn't happened since then.
You call that OMB. That's old man back.
Old man back.
Yeah, we all suffer from early to mid 30s. Everybody
bad case of it, and it sticks with you for the rest of your life. Damn it,
dude. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I can ride like pretty aggressive, pretty hard for a long time, but then when I go to get off the bike to swing my leg back over, I'm like, I can maybe throw my back out on this one. I better dip the bike down. It's like
lean it down a little bit.
That's an old man move right there.
Oh shit. Damn. Ruben told me he fucking tried to throw his leg over his bike, fell over one time. He said that was probably like the funniest thing that's ever happened to him on his bike. Like, oh, Uncle Ruben. Have you met Ruben?
I've met Ruben in Stockton. I talked to him a little bit on the ride. He may not remember me, because I was trying to get, this guy is awesome. I mean, he's 68 years old. I mean,
putting in more miles than
pretty much.
I want to say all of us.
He's retired and he spends his retirement riding his bike.
Yeah,
right. But you can see. I mean, he goes, I ride with everyone. He's divvying up his time with all different types of bikers.
Yeah.
Fixies, BMXers, and he was talking about racing and this and that, and that's kind of what I do my page for.
Nice,
right? That's the type of person that I hope takes a minute and looks at my page when they flip through all those photos and videos can go, ah, man, that one, I remember that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the most gratification. I mean, obviously I won't know the joy it brings someone, but if they hit like, or if they want to comment and say, man, this brings back so much, which they do, my followers do. That to me, that's awesome. That makes me go, all right, I'm going to put the next one up. That's going to be awesome as well. I want to put a real rad pickup or a video. And sometimes I do that. I mean, I'll go snake people's commercials or, like I'm sure it's copyrighted, but I throw it up there. And
yeah, where does all the content come from?
It's, you know what?
You don't really repost. It's all like, I mean, as far as it goes, like original content, you're not like reposting somebody else's stuff.
Well, sometimes.
But
there's some things that I see and go, wow, that's great off someone's page. And what I try to do, and if you look on my page, I'm always trying to give credit.
Sure.
Give credit where it's due. So I don't come across as some rip-off artist, but it just comes from either people send me stuff or I see stuff online. I'll save those photos and then throw them up when I feel like, oh yeah, it's Freestyle Friday. Let me find a badass freestyle pic from sometime in the past or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I try to keep it nostalgic and old school because I'm 80's BMX Craig. I mean,
right. Dude, we need to get you down to meet up with Rick and Jake's dad and Jake Santos. Get you down there one day.
Right. And he and I have talked, and I mean, his link to the 80's and past is kind of like through his dad, the Curb Dog freestyles, not movement, but the team and stuff from like the East Bay and, the Dave Vanderspeck and that whole scene out there is to have, Jake tell me, oh yeah, my dad was connected to that. And then I'm speaking with Jake. It was pretty incredible. So I was super stoked on it.
Yeah, that's the whole family is just super rad, bro. Like his brother Jesse is just a killer on the motorcycle stunt scene. Like they've just were meant. That family was meant for two wheels, bro.
Oh no, exactly. Well,
sure.
we were talking. He's like, this shit's in my blood, and it literally 100%. Is.
Yeah.
And I think he mentioned in his podcast, I think he was born on the day that Dave passed away. Mm-hmm. So it's like, did something cross over, and he says that, and it kind of puts chills into your arms, and it's like,
totally.
Wow, maybe so, because I mean, Jake's killer.
Yeah. And it was that close, you know what I mean? As
right.
far as them knowing each other and shit.
Yeah, family. Exactly.
So, yeah. What's your favorite like movement per se out of all the BMX movements that you've seen over time?
Man, that's a lot of I think we were talking about it today. If it just depends on what I'm watching. Like I really like freestyle. I like things that people can be creative with and use their own expression. If you can do a rock walk and you make it look so fluid that there was just, minimal effort, like simple things, right?
Right.
Like a Miami hopper or something, and if you guys don't know what this is, I suggest you go and Google it or get on YouTube. Don't sit here and say, what's this guy talking about? Go fucking find this shit and look it up,
Yeah.
What was that? Rock walk? What was it?
Yeah, rock walk.
Rock walk.
So, I mean,
I'm Googling it.
and you know, just anything that someone can make that you know is really tough or hard, you make it look really simple. Like I can do that, and then you go outside and you're there for like a day or two, going, "How the fuck did that guy do that?" You know, that's really cool.
Yep. Hey, Ricker, do you want to pick that phone up? Like, not answer it, but I mean, just take it off of the ledge there. Yeah, thanks.
Oops.
It's all good. Man, who was I just talking to that is like, oh, man. I forget who I was just, oh, it was, we were talking about Slumworm, actually, in the, like, the fixie bike world. He's like one of those ones that just does the most insane fixie bike tricks with, like, what looks like to be little to zero effort. You know what I mean? And it's like the fixie world is kind of like an evolution, in my opinion, of like the flat ground freestyle of the 80's and shit.
Yeah, I mean, fixies, that was like fixies. You know, I actually really didn't start thinking about fixies again until Jacob Santos did his podcast, because like fixies to me were it kind of seemed like track bikes. Yeah. It seemed like the movie Quicksilver with Kevin Bacon. You know, I'm thinking it's kind of, but no, dude, it's serious fucking biking, because I went online and checked this stuff out. I mean,
dude, it went through a phase. It went through a movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Some extremeness.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, Jake's saying that he's doing all this shit on a fixie, right? And so I'm like, well, I'm going to go check this out, because it's probably a lot more than what I'm thinking about. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing to me with like, because so I'm like, for BMX and bikes for me, like it hasn't been real steady for me my whole life. There's been a period like where I haven't been around bikes, like BMX bikes at all. I've been on motorcycles and stuff in between, but damn, I forgot where I was going with that.
Fixies.
The fixies. Oh yeah. So that whole thank you. Damn, the fixies was like the whole era that I missed. So when Jacob was telling me about all this stuff, and I was like, after I talked to him one night when I was hanging out with him, this is like way before the podcast, I like Googled it and like was doing research around it, because I was like, dude, how did I miss all of this? Like it was like a whole era of BMX that came and died, and I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, same here.
And when I looked it up, I was like blown away at what these dudes were doing.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's discounting it, go look at it. Borrow a fixie and strap in, and try to do anything on it, but not kill yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good luck stopping.
Yeah, don't forget to keep pedaling,
dude. Yeah, it's that's a whole skill. I mean, it's weird how it's like it's riding a bike, but it's completely different. Trying to do the wheelies, that's the only thing that I found is similar, other than they have two wheels and handlebars and pedals. Is the balance point. Actually, when you're in it on the fixie, it feels exactly the same as when you're doing the balance, like the wheelie balance point with the handbrake, I guess.
We were talking today.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
We were talking today that the girl that's been on D-Block's account, that's when it, what's her name? Leah?
Oh, the one that's like
she's on the fixie, you know, doing the wheelies, riding on top of the bars, riding it backwards in a wheelie, and it's just like insane. A video of her
riding it on the head tube, straddling the head tube,
right,
with her feet down. I'm like,
straight up and down.
Yeah.
Like how?
Right.
Circus, bro.
Circus. That's kind of what it looked like. Shit.
Right.
But yeah, I never seen her before. Just the other day when D-Blocks posted her or whatever.
I think I've seen her before, but now it's, you know, where she's appearing on something that's going to show up in my feed, like D-Blocks's page and stuff. It's like, I'm going to go check out more videos of her riding, because, and I did, and I mean, they're doing stuff inside gymnasiums where people are on their shoulders while they're riding on the handlebars in a wheelie. I mean, blows your mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't even look real.
No, it's super rad.
Yeah.
It's badass.
Did you say RRD blocks is in his feed?
Oh, RRD blocks.
I do.
Oh shit!
Just checking.
He said just checking. Man, so who is your favorite account that you follow on Instagram? Like BMX account on Instagram?
That I follow?
Yeah. Like, what were you following that inspired you to start your page?
man, I don't know if it was somebody else's. It wasn't anybody else's page
in
that
particular?
inspired mine. I think I just started following a lot of the guys who I used to just look at in the magazines, you know, like the Eddie Fiolas and Martin Aparijo and Stu Thompson, just guys from that, the names I could, you know, that they're still in my head that I could bring up. Like, I wonder if this guy has an Instagram account. I wonder if this guy, and you know, it was just starting to, but if I would follow hashtags. And so if I follow or look at hashtag BMX, right? Then I see a whole shit ton of videos or pictures on it. And I'm like, this is badass. I'm going to follow this guy, you know, or whatever. And so it was kind of like it just built on itself. But a lot of it was mostly like the guys from my yesteryears, you know, just to start out with.
Yeah, I went through a phase of that too, like looking up all of my childhood heroes on BMX bikes and shit on Instagram. When I don't know what took me so long to realize that I'm like, hey, these guys have to have Instagram accounts. Right. You know what I mean? So I started looking them all up to follow them all. And shit.
Well, guys from your childhood and guys from my childhood, there might be a difference of who hasn't, but it's surprising that most of them do. Or, you know, if you go like how I got to SE, you know, I was when I was a kid, the SE racing, the PK Ripper was one of the elite race bikes to have. Right. You know, and I didn't know if SE was still around. I mean, I kind of figured they were because I seen him on a MTV show. And I was like, okay. It was a Robin Big, you know, when
they know what that show would trigger.
Right. And so, you know, it was just like, okay, I'm going to, and that's how I did it, you know, just, I'm going to follow SE Racing. Let's see what they're about these days. Well, what are these guys doing? Look at these
Still
big
keeping
bikes.
it rad.
Yeah, they're
that's
keeping
kind of how
it
their
rad.
page is. It's
BMX
like
Innovations, right?
Yeah.
They've been innovating. And like I said, I was looking at PK Rippers back in, you know, late 70s, early 80s. You know, those were the bikes to have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of my friends that was just over here recently we were talking about the big rippers, and he was like a PK Ripper? I'm like, yeah, like the PK Ripper from back in the day, bro. And he was like, oh, yeah, anybody who had those on the block, they got stolen. Right. Because they live in kind of like a rough neighborhood. I was like, yep.
No, those kids never got off their bikes. Yeah. There was a PK Ripper was a pure race bike, right? So those kids were always on their bikes, you know, and it was like, now I see why. Because you're going to, you know, you don't want to get pushed off it and take it from you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a trip that, even like back in the day, I've heard of SE, but I wasn't really like big into them when I was a kid because I had two stepbrothers and they rode GT bikes and I always got like hand-me-downs. I finally did get one, and Dozer has it actually. He just got one, but I had a purple one that got brand new. Yeah.
Speaking of, I can't wait to see what his hutch hutch looks like. Yeah.
Dude, that thing is freaking sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, the SE wasn't like a big factor for me when I was a kid. It was like really the GTs and the red lines is what they were racing on the track when I was BMX racing and stuff. But like finding out now, like SE was well known from a lot of the people from my era that I don't know how, like I just wasn't around a lot of people that had SE. I don't know if they were real expensive back then or what.
They were top of the line. So, you know, like I said, I've seen them and it'd be like a unicorn. You know, they exist, but you don't really get to see them that much, or you've never seen one. But it, you know, for me, it was like my first BMX was a Mongoose. So it's like,
Nice.
that was that was like, once I got that, I'm like, Mongoose is the best. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There's no other better bike. Mongoose is the best. I will beat you. You can race me on that SE and I will blow you away. And you will want a Mongoose afterwards too.
Hell yeah.
You know.
Hell yeah. That was when Mongoose was hot shit back in the day.
They were. Yeah. I mean, that's the bike I got. So it was like, I'm repping this thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I know your bike's better, but you were not going to beat me on this bike. You know.
I'll put it on screen too. He brought two of his bikes with him today. I'll pull it up and put it on screen for you. But he's got one from, you said you were 9 when you first got it?
That one. Yeah. That one's, I was 9. It's an 81.
Damn.
I almost forget the year. It's been so long since I've had the damn thing.
Me.
Yeah, it's an 81 Mongoose team. So,
dude, it's in like really nice condition too.
It's a rider.
Yeah, I mean it's like 100% obviously rideable, but I mean it's like in nice, pristine looking condition for being what it's probably been through from having a 9-year-old own it all the way to where you are now, you know?
It's had a little bit of cosmetic surgery, if you want to put it that way, but you know, things have changed on the bike, and it's awesome.
Sure. That's pretty tight to have a bike from your childhood still.
Yeah.
I wish I could say the same, because I don't know. That's like an iconic piece of like your life, you know what I mean? Still being into the BMX thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of like the main points of conversation on my page. Sometimes it's like, I wish I wouldn't have sold that. I had that bike and I traded it or I sold it. I wish I had it back, you know, and we all do. That's why we all look back at this stuff, and it's, you know, it's awesome, because it's like, I'm just trying to build, you know, I'm just trying to build this bike now like it was when I was a kid, or how I remember it looking, you know, and people get really deep into it. I mean, seriously deep. Like this washer is not OEM washer.
Oh,
I mean, you know, well, original equipment. Right. You know, and it's like, dude, you are really, really into this, you know, and that's cool.
Damn. That's, yeah, I guess you could get to that. I don't know. I've seen some of the bikes and the pictures that Dozier showed me from like the bike shows and stuff that they do.
Oh yeah.
And it's and those ones are like custom bike shows, but OEM, like factory, I mean, it's just probably like car restore guys that are like all about that factory OEM fucking
Yeah.
how it was when they were 16 when they first got that car. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, like if you go on, there's a forum or a website that I check out a lot. It's called bmxmuseum.com. And there's a lot of forums on there where, you know, the guys are talking about springs and you know, dropouts. I mean, just like all the technicalities of a particular bike or whatever, you know. And they're dead serious. I mean, these guys will, if I make any comments that are not correct, you know, I'm getting messages like, you know, that's wrong. That's incorrect. That's not the right year. You need to change that. You know. Like, yeah.
Damn. So they're serious.
Totally.
They're serious. Purists. Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that's good. To each his own.
Exactly.
To each his own.
Open-minded BMX.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. Damn. Yeah, that's fucking. What was the other one you have? It's Haro, right? That you brought, I mean.
So well, it's a newer release. It's 2016 Haro FST Freestyler, 24-inch, and kind of like gives you that idea of what a freestyle bike looked. When I talked earlier about how they came out in like '89 and whatever, and you know, the colors and the flare, and this one has that look. It's the only like true freestyle looking bike I have. I just got rid of one that was in my collection, so I couldn't bring that. But kind of just gives you an idea what was catching my eye when freestyle came out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Number 101.
101. Yeah.
Right.
So they only made 100 of those bikes.
This one I brought in. Yeah, they
I
Haro
was like,
made.
where are you going with it?
I was like, what the heck are you talking about?
101.
Yeah, it's like they made 100 of these, but I mean, it was just a limited run. Yeah, Haro
Limited
did.
run. 100
2016.
globally.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Exactly. Just globally.
It's in my
Not
garage.
universal.
How many bikes do you have?
It changes, and I think right now in the garage I think I'm around 14 or 15.
Okay.
So compared to most of the guests on your show, I mean, I'm not up there so much, but you know, it's
up there.
15 bikes in the garage, dude.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 15 is like 50. You
Yeah.
know, they take up a
It
shitload of
probably
space.
seems like as much space. Yeah. Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
When you said 101, I thought you were talking about as many bikes as he had.
Yeah, I was like, what is Matt talking about?
Yeah. 15. What are they all?
So, the ones we just talked about, I built my lady a Hutch Pro Raider, 20-inch BMX bike, anodized in chrome. It's like anodized purple and chrome.
Nice.
You know, really I wanted her to be a part of this too, you know, and the only way you can, not the only way, but one of the best ways is to build them a bike.
Sure.
You know, you can tell them about it, how cool it is and stuff, but you get them on that bike. And I actually have photos of it on my page where she's on the bike smiling. You could tell like this made her happy,
Sure.
you know, and I've got 4 or 5 SEs, maybe more. She rides one. and then she has a favorite of mine, which is great because now it's like she came out to the ride out with me. She came out to the second Santa Cruz ride out, and she's from Santa Cruz. So it was like,
Oh, nice.
we're going to your hometown.
Yeah.
You're going to be on this SE bike that you like, and you're going to be with me. So it's all
It's a
good.
win-win
Right.
all the way around.
Yeah, actually, you know, that was one of the things too. I was like, I got my sister out on that ride. I got my stepson out on that ride. It was like trying to build it where my family and friends are joining me in this. Yeah, I want them to see what I've been doing so they can be like, oh yeah, this is fun. You know, this is the shit. It's great.
Dude, yeah. It's hard for me to get family and friends of mine to get on bikes. I don't know why it's so hard. I have so much fun. I'm just like, how can you not want to have this much fun with me, you know? So
You're too into it. And they're like,
that's what it is I am. I'm just like obsessed with it.
Right.
But I mean, dude, it does for me what nothing else can. So BMX is life at that.
Definitely.
At this point.
Definitely.
But
solve a lot of your problems behind the handlebars.
yeah, well, and I don't even want to say avoid problems. It just helps you work through them.
goes away.
Yeah, the bullshit just kind of goes away.
Yeah, you can work a lot out while you're pedaling. I mean, a lot of things in your head, you know, what you're doing as far as life or however you want to take it, right?
Right.
But being on a bike, like Matt says, it can kind of work a lot of things out, you know, if you let it.
Oh yeah, totally. And if you're paying attention, your bike can teach you a lot too.
Absolutely.
Just,
yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Through the discipline of it all. But dude, the Santa Cruz ride was the first out of town ride you went to?
Yeah. So
Was that the one you brought your sister and everybody out to?
no, that one was the second one. So Santa Cruz was the first ride I went on. And then from there, it was like, I was just trying to get to any ride out I can make it to. You know, it was like, once the shark tastes the blood in the water, it's like, where's the rest of this? Right.
Hell yeah.
So, right. The pack was coming, but no. So I did Santa Cruz, and then I think it was Tahoe, then Oakland, back to Santa Cruz. You know, it was kind of like just whatever was popping open. Road Stockton one time. And actually really want to ride around here more, you know, North Sac, Stockton, Elk Grove.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't make Seattle, didn't make Vegas. Like I said, I want to head down to Southern California. And if we get, you know, if it goes out of state, if I could, like Tom Lofgren was talking about, New York's off the chain, Florida, you know, any of those, I would love to make it out there.
Yeah, that'd be dope to go to the East Coast.
Yeah, for sure.
Just for that, what we were talking about, just the cultures. It's the same thing, but the culture is different. You know what I mean? The energy out there is different.
Total different vibe with everything. I mean, I'm sure it's for the bike thing too. So, I mean, it's like, you know, if you get the chance, like you were telling me earlier, I mean, that's just going to be such a great opportunity.
Yeah, hopefully the Goon Tour makes it to the East Coast this next year, which I think it's supposed to. But if it does, bro, I'll be so stoked to be able to have the opportunity to go out there and ride.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're going to enjoy it. You're probably not going to come back, or
Dude, yeah,
you're going to want to stay. Yeah, you'll definitely want to stay. You know, you'll be like, I don't want to go back, you know, so soon. I want to stay out here. And
yeah, and the other thing too, the other reason why I want to go out there is like I want to meet the people that I've been talking to online. You know what I mean? As far as like the bike life culture goes, because there's a lot of guys out there that I've been talking to since I started back on the big bike thing this year, and just from like asking questions and stuff, because I'm pretty open. Like I'll ask questions if I don't know. You know what I mean? So I've done that with a lot of these guys from the East Coast because I found them from watching YouTube videos and shit. In the beginning, I'm being like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? These kids are in like 100 people, 200 people mobbing, and I would recognize them and end up hitting them up on Instagram. So I'm excited to be able to meet them someday in person and ride with them and shit.
I mean, that sounds exciting. I mean, at least you're in the position, you know, where you're riding your skill set and your exposure, you know, things like this, as well as what you're, you know, putting out for everyone to see and showing up, you know, to the ride outs, and kids are coming up to you. I mean, when you were telling me that earlier, I was like, that's dope. That is rad. You know, that's where you're like, you know, there's someone watching you going, how is he doing that? Right. Where you're looking at other things going, how are they doing that? Yeah. So you've got as many eyes on you, you know, as you're watching other people too. You know, kids are like going, oh man, there's Slim Boy. Yeah. You know, and that's how this whole thing works, right? That's how the train keeps chugging down the track.
How that works, and it just kind of like trickles all the way up or down, I guess. Right. But Yeah, that is interesting. I've never really noticed that. Yeah, because that was a trip. Me and Rickard have talked about that when kids come. They're like, "Hey, so I've been in a ride and had somebody ask me for my autograph, and that was like the first time, just like,
That's
you know
crazy.
what I mean? I was
Dude.
like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
You're
I was
like,
like,
"Me?"
"Yeah, sure. Are you sure?" Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? Like, wasn't ready for it. But then there's like people in the industry that if I run into them, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna.
Right.
But I might think it in my head sometimes, like, oh, dude, if I got his autograph on something, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there is the people that I think that, but I'm older, so I won't do that.
Well, yeah.
You know
I
what
mean,
I'm
it
saying?
changes from when you're a kid, like,
Yeah.
and, watching certain guys sign bikes and stuff, and the kids, I mean, as soon as the bike sign, they pull away, they run right up to their friends, like, I got his signature, this is, and that's
Hell
something
yeah.
that kid's going to remember and take with him, to maybe when he's on a podcast one day and someone's going, who are your favorite riders? He's going to be like, bang, the guy that signed my bike.
Yeah.
You
hell
know?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
That is a good point. Yeah, because I've got some apparel that I've gotten signed from like motocross riders and stuff when I was younger and shit.
Right.
And none of them really panned out to be like real good riders, but I did follow them at the time. You know what I mean? But it was just probably the same thing to them. You know what I mean? It was like, you want my autograph?
Right.
Like same kind of concept, I guess. But
Yeah, definitely.
this bike life thing is a trip, man.
Tough being a positive male role model.
Right.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Because like the bikes make us feel young, and it makes me feel like I'm like 18 in my head when I'm on my bike and doing wheelies and being out in traffic and shit. And like I make 18-year-old decisions sometimes, and it's not the best, you know.
The front wheel lifts up.
Yeah.
You're off.
And we ride with a lot of kids, so it's some people just kind of do their thing, but me and him definitely try and be mindful of like our example.
Yeah. I mean,
For sure.
so before the, going on the ride outs and stuff, I was really going to the dirt track and the skate park a lot. And, pretty soon, I'm showing up, cause I always bring tools, right? And you talk about how you have a reflection on the kids. Someone would come up to me and they knew I had tools. Hey man, can you fix my bike? My chain came off, or my forks are this, or, and you're like, yeah, come over. I got some tools. So, I got to a point where I'm showing up to the, this is when the BMX Craig thing's going pretty well. And, kids they kind of know who I am.
Recognizing.
They're
Yeah.
DMing me like, are you coming to the park today?
Nice.
Yeah, I'll be there. So,
Nice.
I'd show up there and they're waiting on me and my truck, or and my tools to arrive. And there's a line of them. And they're like, hey man, can you fix my bike? And this is my friend. And he needs his bike fixed too. And then that's his friend. And I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, the damage has been done.
But I'm like, I want to ride, but I'm going to show this kid how to fix it. I'm not going to fix this for him, but maybe I can go, hey man, this is what this tool is called. Go get it. And here's how you fix this problem. And then you fix it next time so I can ride.
Right.
But it's like, passing that on too, it's the riding, it's the skills, it's this, but it's also like, if you don't know how to fix your bike, or if you can't, flip it over and work on it and wrench, that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm not going to just do this for this kid, going to teach him how to do it, and that's kind of like how I started the bike giveaway thing too. I mean, I've only done a few of them, but it was like, sometimes the kid needs a new bike,
Sure.
Sometimes. And it was like, what could I do here? And reached out to a few, folks who I thought may be able to help me, but I think I was shooting a little too high. So I'm like, I think I'll do it on my own, and it was a cool idea, but, buying bikes and fixing them up and giving them away is not easy. When it's coming out of,
when it's coming all out of
out of your pocket, which, it's like, I could do it, but, I see guys like Damon, or I see, certain folks they're collectively doing this, and it makes it a little bit more impactful, a little bit more, the frequency is a little bit.
Yeah. I was going to say they can do it more often just because it's not such a huge hit per person, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. So how many bike giveaways have you done?
2.
2?
But to those 2 kids, that was
dude,
the biggest thing for them, and I want to do more. I'd love to.
How'd you pick them?
The first kid, man, we were at Dirt World Bike Park in Richmond, and I think I put on my Instagram, hey, I'm giving a bike away. Show up down here at the dirt park. And that one was more of a random, like, whoever shows up, put your name in a hat and I'll pick them at the end, type deal. I was like, I didn't really know how to be as fair as I could.
Right.
And the second one, it was kind of more or less, it was me and my viewpoint of things, like which kid has the most fucked up bike,
Yeah.
right? Which one have I been fixing for the longest or have had the most problems, right? So I'm like, it's that kid right there. I know him.
Tired of working
I
on your
don't
bike,
know
bud.
any of, I don't know any of these other kids by name except him.
Because his bike.
And so I called him over and told him, hey, I need you to have your parents call me. I got something I want to talk to him about. And that's how we did the giveaway on that one. So
Nice.
yeah. So yeah, definitely looking forward to doing more. It's just need a little bit more resources, just a little bit more time with that.
Yeah, I feel like I want to be able to actually do stuff like that on the podcast too, give away bikes and things like that, just to kind of give back to the viewers that constantly tune in every week and shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen it on my page or whatever, I try to do a giveaway. I want to, say thank you. I'm just not, I'm not just wanting to say, hey man, I want, follow me and like my shit. And maybe one day I'll DM you back or something. No, it's like, hey, I want to give you something. Here's some grips, here's some pedals, but you also still have to work for it. I'm like, you got to do these things. You got to answer this trivia question.
Hell yeah.
Sometimes, I'd say, hey, this is for some stickers or some decals or whatever, right? And then I ended up sending them. One guy sent him some like BMX artwork, from a guy who's pretty involved with BMX art. So I kind of throw something in there that's like when they get it, they're like, oh shit, he didn't say anything about this. Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Kind of like that gear you're wearing.
Kind of like the gear I'm wearing. Yeah. So definitely like that. Big shout out to Corrosive. Yeah, definitely. Team Corrosive Clothing. They came through for the podcast, so gave me a little, some shirts and stuff.
Little care package.
Yeah. So I just want to say again, thank you to them. That was super cool and a great gesture. So yeah, I'm all decked out.
Dude, yeah. All the way
Get it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, that's what's up. Dude, yeah, I know. I'm rocking the HP Custom Garage.
That's a nice shirt.
Dude, these are dope. I want to get a seat made from them one day.
Yeah.
I know.
Nah.
That's why I said one day.
Yeah. No, lucky
Quality custom work.
enough to get
dude.
one from Mike. If anybody wants a custom seat, definitely go check out Huntington Beach Custom Garage. And shout out to you, Mike, because he does phenomenal work. That's seriously
everything.
sick.
I forget who showed me his page. It was a while ago though, and I saw it. I was like, damn, dude, this is like amazing that somebody's doing this to these SE seats because, for one, great idea, bro, because those seats are on like every freaking wheelie bike under the sun. So but the quality and work that he looked like he was putting out, dude, is freaking top notch.
Yeah, I mean, he's thinking way outside the box. I mean, look at some of his stuff. I think he made like a Misfit seat that had like, the studs that you would find on a
belt.
punker bracelet or belt, and it's like, who's doing that?
Right.
That guy is. Yeah, they're awesome.
Well, not only that, HP Customs Garage is the ones who are remaking like some of the SE bikes and stuff, right?
Z-frame? Don't they have a Z-frame?
Is that the one that it looks like a CW Phase 1? It's got the lightning bolt, but it has a little bit more than that. I'm not saying that they took it from there, but it's like got that same flair to it.
Oh, yeah.
Badass. And I actually saw one, if I'm not mistaken, Mike was riding it in Santa Cruz, the black one.
Yeah.
It's really sick. It's really sick.
Yeah, those things are a trip. But they fuck, I can't remember what bike it is that I'm thinking of specifically, but they didn't make it in a 29 ever. And he made one in a 29. I can't remember what model it was though.
That Huntington Beach made, or
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Because he puts out the custom bike. Is that the person I'm thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking of a different page.
Could be. I mean, they're throwing out bikes right now, or a bike. I'm not sure how many. Sorry about that, Mike.
But I don't know. Maybe I'll think of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to get down on customizing my bikes. I I get to this position where I'm like, dude, it's gonna look this sick and that, and then like I'll get just a little bit done, and it'll be like set the way I like to ride, and somehow it'll land in that comfortable zone of like how I like my bike set up, and I'll never do anything to it again unless the brake pads are squeaky.
Right. Like the shit that wears out. The squeaky pads.
Yeah.
Yeah, your bike owned you for a couple hours a day.
God, it was so annoying. It was just
We
honking.
would have helped you, but we had to let you figure it out. It's like with the kids. You had to.
Oh,
you
come
powered
on.
through it, got
Well, you figured it out.
I
That's
did figure
the
it
most
out.
important
They
part.
do not honk anymore.
Yeah.
Stupid
I don't know what it
stuff.
is. Like, I have to customize every bike. And it may be something that only I notice. Usually it's not. I mean, but it's like I have to
Make it
do
yours.
something. Like if I get a stock bike, I'll stare at it like, no, you know.
I look at it stock and say, I can't wait till I'm done with that.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't wait till I'm done with that.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Because there's really only like a couple mandatory things I have to do to my bikes that I do no matter what, which is the handlebars, the lever, the brake lever, the brakes or / brake pads at least if the brakes are good.
right.
But that is about it for the most part. I do other stuff. I mean, you've seen my black and gold goon. It's
Yeah.
got a bunch of stuff on it, but nothing too crazy. Because my
Yeah.
bikes go down, and sometimes they go down really hard. So having like super expensive parts, I have to like weigh out my.
Yeah. I mean,
Got to weigh the pros and cons, unfortunately.
I mean, with mine, especially, you know, from bikes in the past, if it's a product that I've used or what, I usually do it, excuse me, on every bike. Like it's always this, you know, neck on here, you know,
Yeah.
I really prefer this neck, or I really like this bottom bracket or whatever it is. But I tend to kind of always change the same things, kind of like you were talking about.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm like, well, maybe I won't do it on this one. Maybe I will, you know, I kind of try to switch it up, but I can't leave it stock.
Yeah, no.
No, these are price point bikes. They're designed for, it's a blank canvas. You're supposed
Right.
to make it what you want out of it. You can leave it stock, but, you know, people talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, everybody's and to customize the SEs. I mean, realistically, it's so easy to do to make yours like uniquely yours. It's just like really just a sticker
There's
kit.
one person who doesn't customize
You know what I mean?
SE
Like,
bikes, and that's Todd Lyons. He rides them bone stock.
yeah,
He rides them all bone stock.
yeah. Well, I mean, if I got bikes like at that frequency rate, I probably wouldn't spend the time to put any parts on them either.
Right.
Because
Well,
you would just be in an endless race.
Would
of-
you be putting any other brands on your SE bike when you're the brand manager of
There's
SE?
that's a
You know,
way
he's
better
like,
point.
yeah, no. We're just gonna keep it bone stock.
Yeah. I think Todd was getting mad at some point that people were putting SE parts on other bikes. But then you realize probably how awesome that was.
It's free marketing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
free advertising, man. Look
Yep.
at that SE sprocket on that GT, or you know, whatever. It's
On the
still,
go.
I mean,
yeah, same. I know. SE parts are on, dude, many other bikes, like big BMX bikes out there.
Right.
Just because there's not a huge variety. There is a big variety of stuff out there, but there's certain colors that SE happen to have made.
It's the bubblegum and Band-Aids that's holding all the other brands together.
Yeah. For real. But they make some good stuff, though. Their seats are, I mean, they're like, in my opinion, probably the best wheelie seats out there.
Oh, and the variety of them. I put them on my old school bikes, and we were talking earlier. You know, I swapped out the old seats, the old plastic hard seats, whatever, and I'm
plastic
throwing the
Impaler.
SEs on them because they're fucking comfortable and they're BMX styled seats. I mean, the forming, the shape, you know, everything is great for me.
Right.
I mean, everyone has their own likes or dislikes, but I mean, they're great seats. And
Well, I mean, I got to say, if you can ride 30, 40 miles sitting down on a bicycle seat and you can still get home,
right,
it's a pretty good seat.
uh,
You know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty good seat.
right.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
especially when it was designed to not really be sitting on that much. I mean, I guess on the big cruisers, but that seat design has been out for how long?
Years.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, they weren't necessarily designed to be sat down on either, which is crazy.
They were designed for Big Black's booty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, how many SEs do you got?
Let's see. I got a D Blocks, the Maniac Flyer. I've got a 24-inch STR1 or the quad angle, the Monster Quad. One more. Oh, I got the Dogtown Ripper.
Nice.
Oh, and I got the 20-inch PK Ripper XL Elite race bike.
Oh,
so
shit.
I don't even know how many that was. I just counted off, but I think it's like 6.
6, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be
So
wrong.
yeah, I mean, I've got some SE stuff, and definitely liking what they're doing. And
Dude, we need to get some goons in your collection.
Yeah, hey, I'm ready. Go ahead.
He said I'm ready.
Whenever you want to. Shipping address coming to your DM soon.
Yeah.
Hard hat up there, so no
Right.
Yeah. Nobody can forget.
recognize.
Yeah. Big shout out Throne. Yeah. I'm excited. I got my 2 bikes coming. They probably should be here like Monday, I think.
Are those coming? Are they going to have your forks on them, or are they?
No. So the fork is coming from Broke Boys BMX, which
Oh, nice.
huge shout out to Broke Boys BMX.
Yeah,
Dude.
right on.
We're on a mission. I'm hella excited. We just got our hoodies and we just got our hoodies and t-shirts yesterday, right at Jacob's house. We put them on and leave Jacob's house riding our bikes without Jacob. Going to his warehouse, and we're in this neighborhood, bro, and out of nowhere some guy throws a fucking soda can, a Diet Coke, bro,
What
from the
the
passenger seat
fuck?
over the driver through the car, and it hit homie that was next to me and me. It like skipped off his arm and just obliterated me, dude.
Oh.
Everywhere, bro. I turned around and pedaled until I couldn't
my
breathe trying to catch up with him. I was so pissed, bro. I couldn't believe it. So otherwise, I would have been wearing my Broke Boy shirt.
I'm
but-
kind of impressed with the shot that you just described.
That's what I'm
fucking
saying.
Skill, dude, through the window and all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And he got 2 kills
2
with it.
people, bro. Yeah, he got us both, dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. After the fact, I couldn't help but laugh because I was like, motherfuckers. I'm really glad that it was the soda that I got and not the eggs in Vacaville.
Ooh.
Way
nice.
happier that it was the soda. Because somebody threw eggs at us in Vacaville when we were on an overpass, and we had, like, no defense. And they were rolling up from behind us, so they just suck. They throw like a girl.
So
But,
that's a trip because I listen to your podcast, right? But every show has brought up something about that
Vacaville
city or
ride.
that ride out, and it's like
So much
we're
bad
keeping the
juju.
streak, but yeah, damn.
Make BMX feel like BMX again.
Yeah.
10 years old running from somewhere. Hip hop is this, but,
That's crazy.
yeah, that's the only other time I've ever had anybody throw something at us out of a car, bro. Like,
Yeah, with the egg downtown.
Really?
There's an egg district downtown Sacramento.
oh, no.
Yeah, little arm came out. To the eyeball.
Oh.
Damn, in the eye.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Until I could puke.
Yeah, dude.
Nothing like a
Just
little
so
egg
mad.
in
You're
your
like,
face.
bro, when I get you. And then they just get that one corner, bro, and boop, and they're gone. Yeah. But yeah, so big shout out to Broke Boys for getting our hoodies and shit to us. But the fork, I'm not sure when the timeline is set for that. They're like just finishing up with the handlebars right now for Jacob, so it should be hopefully pretty
Yeah,
soon.
I'm actually looking forward to that. You getting your forks, seeing his handlebars. I always like when new product comes out.
Yeah.
Not that I get to test everything, but it's see new flavor out there.
Sure. Well, what I'm excited for is that so everybody on the team is pretty much getting a part made from Broke Boys.
Oh, nice.
That's on the team.
How cool
and-
is that? I mean, that's sick.
There's 10 of us, I think.
Yeah.
So what's going to be, I'm not sure if that's all doable, but I know at least as many that can be done are going to get done for bike pieces until they probably make a bicycle. But it's going to be interesting to see the designs and like everybody's take because it's going to be from this bike movement,
Right.
making ideas, manufacturing parts.
Now, do you get a say in like the design or the look, the layout,
It's all
the
us.
colorway, everything?
It's all us, yeah.
Oh wow,
So-
that's awesome. You can be a part of that.
I had to actually have Jacob help me because I picked the fork because I was like, dude, I want to do that because Pounding Beers is like the only fork out. Like S&M makes awesome forks,
dude, pounding beer forks are fucking badass.
but our options are really limited as far as 29-inch forks go.
Right.
Chrome, white, and black.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right, right.
Chrome, white, and black, all Pounding Beers, exactly. So I was like, damn, I want to do that. So we have another option, and there's like, because me and Jacob are really hard on bikes, you know what I mean? And he just sends it. So we need strong options out there. But I got to have him help me find designs, actual fork designs and blueprints to send over to them, and then basically show them what I like on certain forks that I have and pictures and stuff like that. So it's all of our ideas that we're shooting to them, and they're gonna basically come out with a product and be like, here's prototype 1. Like, how do you feel,
Right. And then
So-
you're going to go out and demo it and make sure it's got the right feel.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everything's going to be dialed in. And
Yeah, so I don't know how many. Jacob's on his second set of prototypes right now of his bars,
nice.
and I think it's probably going to go to one last one before they go to full production.
No, that's rad.
But yeah, it's going to go through testing, so I don't know. It'll probably just be me testing, which means I'm going to have to go down to the Elk Grove dirt jumps. Have you been
Yeah.
to those?
Is that the one off the freeway there?
Yeah.
Right off 99. Yeah, that I actually went there because I was driving by it and I'm like, the fuck? There's a
Yeah.
pump track. I didn't have my bike with me. I stood out. I actually walked up and down
Oh, really?
the jumps and came
Nice.
off the top there, and I'm like, dude, I got to come back. So
remember
I
the
just
first time
haven't been
saw
able
it,
to.
I was like, how does this exist here? Like, because that's a big park, and there's
They
like
had a racetrack
dude,
there,
everything
and
in between.
They had that area. They had a sanctioned track there, which the local community wasn't. There wasn't enough riders to support it, but they still had that area, so they just left a bunch of dirt jumps there. They used to be bigger. I mean, I'm talking 12 foot straight up in the air, 20-foot gaps.
It's just amazing to me that
And
that
that's
is just
a mini
out
track
there
now.
in the public, and the only thing it says is wear your helmet.
Right.
That's
No,
it.
I mean,
Like,
we don't ask for
damn.
much. Just-
That's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
who does the liability fall on?
The rider.
I guess.
sign.
I guess it. Yeah.
I think when I was there, they had a sign with a little bit more on there
No,
than
it was
that.
really strict, so they had to go
Yeah.
through a lot of screening process to get that in there. So they must have had their ass covered.
It's got to be watertight. There's no way that place exists without
Right.
it being.
No,
watertight.
they're not.
Like-
No.
like-
Especially next to is the kiddie track and stuff. And it's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, because there's some pretty good sized jumps out there.
Real good size.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
decent.
Stuff that I can't hit yet. Again,
Right.
I don't even know if God, I was small when I was younger,
I
so
don't even go out there.
the jumps that I hit when I was younger seemed big,
Yeah.
or but they kind of look like the same proportion to me now. As I'm looking at those, so I'm like, fuck, I could probably hit those, but damn, bro, I don't know if I can afford to fall out there.
No, they're big. They're they're big jumps. So you're not just going out there on day one like,
No way.
Let me hit this. It's like you work into that, you progress into it, and I think there's progression jumps there.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
but which ones you're not going to hit
Totally.
on day one.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I would just never have the balls to do that on day one.
Right.
You imagine
Well,
just
some kids
sending
do,
it down.
dude. I've seen the send.
Yeah, He said,
I've
"I've seen this."
I have seen the send, dude.
Oh,
when
God.
it shouldn't have been a send, there should have been a pre,
Oh,
something warm up or, it's.
That
But
just
kids, that's
sounds
the
violent.
best part about kids are like,
fearless.
fuck yeah, and they go
Yeah.
for it, right? But if it was us, there'd be too many factors of our safety, or I might get hurt.
Yeah,
Kids are like,
speed
"Oh, yeah."
roll up real quick. 4 more of those.
You said I can make it. I'm going for it. That's all it takes for your kid.
He said you won't do it.
right?
Dog dare you.
Yeah, he said on your mama. Yeah,
Oh.
you're out there.
But I want to go out. I want to actually get Jake and Little Noodle out there because that's what intrigued me. Is I saw this kid that we ride with. We call him Little Noodle. But he sends it out there on a beast mode on those same tires that's on my red line.
Yeah, that's,
And
Canterbury.
yeah, James, and he just sends it off those huge jumps in Elk Grove like it's nothing on his beast mode, just boop, flopping over. He'll do a little 1-footer, flatten out and shit.
dude, that's
the
a
whole set.
heavy ass bike too. I mean, I'll have to look this guy up because I'm so interested now in seeing
Yeah.
this, and someone getting super stoked.
He sent it over that hip in Santa Cruz. He wheelies.
He's trying to get on.
Maybe I've seen it. I'll go back and
Yeah.
look.
He's trying to get on the goon.
No?
Throne's coming out with a new couple new bikes. He's trying to get on one. I want to get one too because I need to get something I can jump in the dirt because I guess I could try and figure out the 29s, but sending the 29 off something that big just seems really sketch to me because they're just not quite built for that. But I don't know. I just seen Jacob do it, so damn it, Jacob.
Go jump something.
Yeah, I mean, just get on your bike, go jump something. Shit, right? But
It's pretty much where it's at this point.
if like you race, so if you got all that 20-inch background, did you race 20 or
Yeah.
24s?
20.
So you mean the feel, you just have that imprinted
Right.
on your brain, right? So when you get on a 29, you're like, I am not supposed to go off a jump on this.
Yeah.
This does not make sense. But
Yeah.
I think especially some of the younger kids, if that's all they know, they're going to handle that bike on anything, you know.
The same way I learned on a 20.
Right.
Yeah.
Same way you learned on the 20-inch, right? And of course, if they're really young and they don't have the weight to throw around yet, it's going to be hard to do anything but just, you know, keep it straight up in the air like a dead sailor or something, you know, but it all comes.
Yeah. But the dirt jumps down there do have like in-between size sets, I want to say. Oh, I think you know what it has? It has the roller, the racetrack triple rhythms. Yeah.
Right. Really
they go up.
I live by Elkhorn BMX, and they got doubles there. Just regular bike track doubles.
Is that who's going to do the 29 day?
We can.
That'd be awesome. That'd be fucking dope.
That'd be fun.
Bike track, we can do it at night. We just can't do it on race or practice nights.
Dude, yeah, have a fucking sanctioned BMX track for us to go mob on 29 and up.
We'll have someone out there dropping gates. I can get on the microphone.
Gates on a 29. That would be
hella
so
fun.
Down.
Dude, yeah.
That would be so awesome.
We should make it. Well, I guess we could do that kind of anytime, even if it rains. It only takes like a few days for that to dry up, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a walk down there tomorrow and see what it's like.
We've been talking about it for a while, so we should fucking do this.
No, that sounds rad.
Hell
You got to get out there.
Dude, yeah.
Yep,
Elkhorn BMX. I haven't been, man. There's a lot of BMX tracks around here. I fucking wish I would have known about.
Public, so you can go out and most of them are closed to the public, so they can keep them nice and groomed.
Right.
The track and roller,
It's rural out there.
No, there's quite a. I mean, even from my house, I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 within 45 minutes, and they're all public. You know, we go to the public tracks, and
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. The fact that, you know, we can pretty much, if one's packed, we can get in the car and actually go somewhere else real quick.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's cool.
Yeah, I can't even remember where I used to race at when I was younger, but I want to say Livermore, Dublin, maybe.
Both of those. I mean, there's a track. There's Pleasanton. You have the Pleasanton BMX track. That's kind of like, you know, that's. Oh,
Maybe
I don't know exactly where it's at.
Livermore. There's one in Livermore, yeah.
I believe the Livermore. And if you race league, were you down at PAL and in like the San Jose area?
I'm pretty
down
sure,
there?
yeah, because during that time I grew up where you live, actually, and so I was kind of all out in that area. And I had family like in Antioch, so I came from like the East Bay too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you were probably over in like Livermore or Pleasanton, somewhere around there.
I was just young, so I don't really remember like all the places. I remember riding at certain tracks, like in my mind, the track that I was on, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I can't remember what they were called, most of them. South Park was the one I remember going to that seemed huge.
Huh. Kids don't care what the fuck they're called. They're just like, get me there and let's ride.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yep.
I didn't know the name of that.
Dude. Do you have any epic crashes as a kid?
That speed wobble one I was mentioning earlier, dude, I kind of downplayed that fucker, but let me tell you what, I was like one of the, I came up, I seriously had a concussion. I mean, I scraped a concussion. I scraped the skin off my knee to where I was looking down at my bone, you know, I'm like, I'm a fucking little kid, like, man, that's what my kneecap looks like, you know. It is not pink.
Whoa.
I'm not pink no more right there. I'm bone white.
Straight
dude.
bone.
No, I got up and I was a little dizzy. I think I hit my head. I mean, helmets back then, it was like, what's that? You know? Maybe someone had like a Bauer hockey helmet or something, and like that kid, you were like, let's ditch him, you know.
Right.
But no, I mean, epic crash. I've been pretty fortunate. Nothing epic, you know.
That's good.
My senses tell me to, like, when I'm riding in traffic, just don't get hit.
Yeah.
That's the basics of it, you know. And hopefully, I can weave and bob around objects or obstacles, and especially just watch for cars. You know, but bumps, bruises, little mini ER visits, nothing epic. Stitches are, you know, kind of like it comes with it, right? Or no casts, you know.
That's good, yeah.
Motorcycles, yeah. Motocross, yeah. Had those injuries, broken bones, but not on the bike.
Yeah, see, that's a big attraction, is that the bikes are just forgiving. I mean, more forgiving than any of the other extreme, like motorcycles and stuff crashing. Like, it's hard to get out of a motorcycle crash without really injuring yourself.
Right.
It's pretty easy to get out of a BMX crash without really injuring yourself, especially if you happen to be wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like you're really not going to get too hurt for the most part.
I mean,
what are you looking at me for?
he's looking over it, man.
The king of crash over there.
No, the helmet thing, man. trust me, I don't want to wear that bucket on the ride outs. It's like we were talking earlier today. I'm like, I can't itch my fucking ear. I cannot get the finger. I got the, the Pro Cut helmets, and I'm like reaching under there going, fuck.
Yeah, digging your pinky in there.
Right. You're just trying to get it and then
scrape past your ear.
But it really is. I mean, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep doing this with my kids. And if, like looking at Matt's helmet today with the fucking scratches and everything on the side, it's like if that were my skull or my scalp or whatever, my brain,
you'd be having a bad
game
day.
over.
Bad week.
Or at least,
Yeah.
It's a small price to pay. Wearing gear is a small price to pay to be able to still
Right.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, the gear nowadays compared to like when I was a kid, when you guys were kids, it was like, dude, the stuff wearing back then made you look stupid. Versus the helmets now, you know what I mean? They're designed for a look and protection, you know what I mean? So it's just not that much for me to put the helmet on. It is just kind of inconvenient, like the scratch in your ears, you know what I mean? Or the biggest inconvenience I realized today is that those damn helmets are hella hot in the summertime and they're really cold in the wintertime.
Right.
There's no benefit on either course of that.
Right. And I mean, trust me, you guys know it too. When you're riding and you get to a stop and if you pull that helmet off, right, and when you flip it back on, it's like full of cold ass sweat where you're like, I mean, kids, wear your helmet, but yeah, you got to wear it. Protect your brain.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, like I said, the role model thing is one aspect of wearing the helmet, but two is like, a headshot is serious. You know what I mean? Road rash and scraping up's one thing, but I got work and responsibilities.
I got
and
shit to do. Yeah. I got mouths to feed, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to work Monday.
So, and look how much Matt got the lap after he watched himself crash in the video because he had his helmet on.
Right.
Dude, you get reposts out of it, dude. On it, SE will repost it.
That was a good one,
be
though.
Safe. I'm fortunate enough, to get up and walk away from a lot of minutes because I wear the protective stuff. I'm not scared to fall down. You got to embrace it.
Yeah, Matt's about it. He'd be wearing the forearm guard, elbow pads. Yeah.
No more swelbo. No more swelbo.
Yeah, I got the worst for that. I'm hella bony, hella slim. Well, damn. I think we're getting towards the end here. We covered a lot. It's been a good one.
It's been fun, man.
Definitely.
I just want to.
When he puts his post together, he lists the riders, what they're doing. He goes into detail about what's actually going on in the photo and what the time, what was going on at that time. He really puts it into words real well. He tags the riders or whatever's going on, and I always fucking tap on whatever he tags, and it leads me downstream on this BMX path, and sometimes I get lost.
Hell yeah.
That's what
I think that was a compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, I mean, that's awesome because that, like I said, again, that's what I'm really trying to do with all of this is get you or get someone looking at this to be like, what's that about? I already love this sport. I love what I'm doing with it. What's the rest of it?
Right.
What can I find out? And people these days, we're in an information world where it's I need information. Feed me information. Well, here you go. If you want to know about this, maybe I can take you to that place. Maybe not, but most likely I'll try.
Yeah, yeah. You do really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
I
do
appreciate
well,
it.
man, for sure. Any shout outs to close up the
first thanks for having me here. I mean, it was a great, amazing opportunity.
Anytime,
I was glad
man.
you guys reached out. I really want to say thank you to a few people. I want to definitely thank my family, my mom for sure, who got me that 82 Mongoose.
Yeah.
Started this whole thing off, right?
Shout out moms.
Definitely my sister and my kids and my fiance Lisa. If you're really into fishing, you can go follow her at Lisa's Real Life.
Real life.
Yeah,
like
real life. Like real. Yep.
Yeah.
And no, I just want to thank,
Hell
definitely because of the page and everything on Instagram. Thank you to the followers and thank you for,
yeah.
And it's really about thanking everyone because reaching out or getting to meet people like you and Matt and everybody that's come up to me or I have talked to. I value that. I mean, that makes this whole BMX thing, like for me, what I'm looking for is like to meet people, have fun doing what I like to do too.
Nice.
You know, so
Yeah,
that's
totally.
awesome, bro. And I appreciate you having me. That's fucking sick. I love it.
Dude, man, thank you a lot for coming out
Yeah.
and just being on board. I was super stoked to hit you up and have you be juiced to come out. And because I'm on the same thing, man. I like meeting people and they're like-minded in the same shit that I'm obsessed with.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So, so yeah, man, thanks for coming out and riding with us and just kind of hanging out and not being in
Yeah.
like a super rush or nothing. It was cool to chill and kick it with you today and get you
No,
just bullshit,
definitely
you know,
cool.
for
And
sure.
thanks again. I appreciate it, man.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, another one down, guys. Definitely make sure and like this video. Subscribe to the podcast for more sweet podcast episodes to come.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Tag your friends. Definitely share this on your story and comment below what you guys think.
Definitely come say hi. I'll say what's up.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, you guys. Till
ya.
next week.